Hey everyone, welcome back to I Know History or Do I? So today we're diving deep into one of the most enigmatic organizations in history, the Freemasons. So are they a harmless brotherhood dedicated to charity and self improvement? Or are they a shadowy, secret society pulling the strings of world events? So, from ancient rituals to modern conspiracy theories, we'll explore it all in this deep dive. So, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more uncovers like this. So let's get started. Okay, so we are back. Thank you for hanging out with me, and we're going to go over a few things. So, Freemasonry, or simply Masonry, traces its roots back to the medieval stonemasons guilds of Europe. Now, these groups were skilled builders who constructed materials and constructed castles and cathedrals and other grand structures during the Middle Ages. Now, back then, they were operative masons, actual workers with tools like the square and the compass. But around the 17th century, something shifted. Non builders and thinkers and nobles and intellectuals started joining these guilds, turning them into the speculative masonry focused on moral and philosophical lessons rather than literal stonework. Now, those of you out there who are, probably have heard Freemasons really don't know much about it. And it's actually supposed to be a philanthropic organization. But I guarantee you, a lot of you first heard of it from the 2004 film classic, National Treasure. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, right here. Because this was the opening scene to this movie, and a lot of people were enthralled and their imaginations went wild. So we're going to play this.
It's a secret.
A treasure. A treasure beyond all imagining. A treasure that had been fought over for centuries by tyrants, pharaohs, emperors, warlords. And every time it changed hands, it grew larger. And then suddenly, it vanished. It didn't reappear for more than 1,000 years, when knights from the First Crusade discovered secret vaults beneath the Temple of Solomon. You see, the knights who found the vaults believed that the treasure was too great for any one man, not even a king. They brought the treasure back to Europe and took the name the Knights Templar. Over the next century, they smuggled it out of Europe, and they formed a new brotherhood called the Freemasons in honor of the builders of the Great Temple. War followed. By the time of the American Revolution, the treasure had been hidden again. By then, the Masons included George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Paul Revere. Now look here, Ben. The Freemasons, among our founding fathers, left us clues like these. The unfinished pyramid, the all-seeing eye, symbols of the Knights Templar, guardians of the treasure. They're speaking to us through these.
Okay. So, if you've seen that movie, you've seen that scene, and it's most likely probably your first real introduction into the Freemasons. But let's get back to who they actually were. So, the modern era kicked off in 1717, where 4 London lodges formed the Grand Lodge of England, the first official governing body. Now, from there, Freemasonry spread like wildfire across Europe and into the Americas, attracting influential figures who saw it as a way to promote Enlightenment ideals like liberty, equality, and brotherhood. But why the secrecy? Well, in those days, guilds protected trade secrets to maintain their edge. As Masonry evolved, those secrets became symbolic, like handshakes, passwords, and rituals, meant to build trust and teach life lessons. So let me get rid of this here. But, as time goes on, it evolved. So Freemasonry is organized into lodges, local meeting places where members gather. And we will throw that up there. Yep, there you go. But um, at the top are grand lodges, overseeing regions or countries. To join, you need to be a man of good character, though some branches now include women or mixed groups. Like I myself was a member of the Elks Lodge here in North Carolina, and they are one of the few that actually allow women to be members. Um, let's see. But they believe in a higher power and they get sponsored by existing members, very much like I did. The heart of Masonry is its degrees. So think of them as levels of initiation. These are three core ones, and it's called the Blue Lodge. So you walk in, you're entered apprentice. This is the entry point. The candidate is blindfolded, symbolizing ignorance, and led into the lodge with a rope around their neck, a cable tow, representing the bonds of vice. And they're challenged with a dagger to the chest, symbolically, of course. There no one's getting actually challenged. And they swear an oath of secrecy. The blindfold comes off, revealing the light of knowledge. So, level 2 is the fellowcraft. That focuses on education, the arts, and sciences. More symbols are introduced, like the pillars of Solomon's temple. And then, Master Mason, the pinnacle involving a dramatic reenactment of the legend of Hiram Abiff, the architect of Solomon's temple, who was murdered for refusing to reveal the secrets. It's all allegory for integrity and resurrection. But these rituals use tools like the square for morality and compasses for boundaries to teach virtues. And yes, there are those famous secret handshakes or grips to identify fellow Masons. But here's the twist. Most of these secrets have been public for centuries, leaked in books or online, and Masons keep them ritualistic for tradition, not for world domination. So, Freemasonry is loaded with symbols that fuel endless speculation. The most iconic is the square and the compasses, often with a G in the middle for God or geometry. Then there's the all seeing eye, which appears on the US dollar bill, but not a Masonic plot, but inspired by Enlightenment symbolism for divine providence. Other symbols include the level, equality, plum, uprightness, and the beehive, industry. Pillars like Boaz and Jachin um, represent strength and stability, and these are not occult, they're tools for moral lessons, drawn from the biblical and architectural metaphors. But in the wrong light, they do look sinister, especially when tied to conspiracy theories. So let's get into some famous members. So Freemasonry was attracted power players throughout history, and in America, George Washington was a master mason. And many founding fathers like Benjamin Franklin and Paul Revere were also members. And we can also add to that list, I wrote some down. We got Charles Lindbergh, John Wayne, the actor, Thomas Edison, the inventor, Oscar Wilde, the writer. And you already know about Paul Revere and Thomas Jefferson. So, these are other people who have actually been Masons. So, according to my records, 14 US presidents were Masons, including FDR, Truman, and Ford. So, that's three or more presidents right there. Globally, figures like Winston Churchill, Mozart, and even Simon Bolivar joined in. So, in revolutions, American, French, Latin American, Masons played roles promoting ideas of liberty. Their influence, more like networking, lodges were placed for enlightened discussions in repressive times. So, Masons also do massive charity work, hospitals, scholarships, disaster relief. The Shriners, which is a Masons offshoot, they run children's hospitals. So, the real impact, yes, there is some, but through philanthropy, and ideas, not secret control. So, the conspiracy theories, do they rule the world? This is the juicy part, conspiracies. Since the 1700s, people have accused Masons of everything from rigging elections to satanic worship. The Illuminati, founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, it was a short lived Enlightenment group that some say merged with Masonry to plot world domination. If you remember, the Illuminati is brought up a lot in the, um, oh my goodness, the Tom Hanks movie, The Symbol, or I don't even remember. It was the first one of those 3 that trilogy. Illuminati is brought into that, and they kind of tie into the Catholic Church a bit. But it was disbanded by 1785. Then there's the New World Order, a supposed global elite cabal, often linked to Masons, Jews, and Jesuits. Nazis persecuted Masons, seeing them as part of a Jewish Masonic conspiracy. But in modern times, theories tie them to the Bilderberg Group, Skull and Bones, or even Hollywood. Books like The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is a forgery, fueled anti Masonic hysteria, leading to bans in places like fascist Italy and the Soviet Union. Even today, QAnon echoes these ideas. So let's debunk the myths in modern Freemasonry. So, is there truth to the conspiracies? Historians say no. Most are rooted in fear of the unknown, anti Semitism, or political scapegoating. Freemasonry isn't a unified global power. Lodges are independent, and membership has declined from millions in the mid 20th century to about 2 to 6 million today. But modern Masons focus on community service and personal growth. They're not hiding treasures like in National Treasure, and because that's just a Hollywood fun. And if anything, their influence comes from fostering ethical leaders, not controlling them. So, in conclusion, the Freemasons remain a secret society with secrets. Or actually, I'm sorry, Freemasons remain a society with secrets. But those secrets are more about self improvement than sinister plots. Whether you're intrigued by the history or skeptical of the theories, one thing is clear: they've shaped our world in subtle, positive ways. So, what do you think? Are the conspiracies overblown, or is there more to uncover? So, drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, like, share, and check out our next video on the Illuminati next. So, thanks for watching, and see you at the next one. Bye.